I'm going to be doing my fourth and final VCT Kickoff prediction bracket. I've already done America's, EMEA, and just did Pacific. So let's get into it. I have to log out because I already have my predictions done, so I can like go through these live without leaking them or messing up my actual preds. So first game here is already like a really good game. Gilai Gaming versus Wolves. Gilai is the Ascension team. They have made heavy roster moves though since then, but I'm gonna go with Wolves personally. They look really good. They signed Lysor from FPX, sorry. They also have UCal from forever ago from the same team. This player right here, I'm not going to try to pronounce him. IGL in the team, Juicy going to Controller, or Spring going to Controller, something like that. Overall though, this roster looks really strong. They have firepower. I think Tai Lu is less bad. These two teams are like actual just pocket change. I don't know, bro. JDG, I want to feel confident in, but I don't. They made like a last minute roster move. I gotta go with Dragon Ranger Gaming. I think they look good though. They're keeping Nick, Vavushka, T-Virus Luke, and they're bringing in 2 new players from last year, looking to regain that second event, Shanghai, Master Shanghai energy. They looked like a good upset team during Shanghai. I heavy underrated them. Regret doing that because they looked good. And then you have the third bottom feeder team of all gamers going down here. So just so this is where we're at right now. I think these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams are really good. I think the worst team here is probably DRG, just because I have it like they've proven the least out of everyone here. So here, like all of these teams, I think there's a chance EDG should be favored. So that leaves what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams that could go to Bangkok alongside EDG. EDG is just the best team in China. They won champions. Like I just have to like click them through, like everything. Truly, I think Wolves will beat Billy here. Billy looks good. They lost Yosemite. Sorry, he went to FPX because Lysor went to Wolves. So we have a lot of talent swapping at the top of the game, which is cool, or top of China rather, which is kind of cool. Wolves kind of like brought themselves up to the top of the food chain, I guess, with signing Lysor and just rebuilding their roster, which is fine. It's whatever. YZ, Neff, Levius, Russia, Knight for Billy. They signed Levius halfway through the season alongside Neff. YZ and Knight have been here like the whole time. And they lost Yosemite and they brought in this guy later, I think, or to replace him. Not sure. These two are really close. Like, I'm not sure. Like, I hope FPX are able to regain their their Shanghai form, because this looked like a top 5 team in the world. Maybe not top 5. That might be cutting it a bit too high. Like a top 8 team in the world. Like FPX looked nuts, and I think Yosemite should be a firepower upgrade over Lysor. And he fills the same kind of job of like playing the Sentinel / controller, like whatever Berlin doesn't want to play. Ayang, I believe is how you pronounce his name, is a really solid initiator player. Sova, Gecko, Fade player. Autumn, really good flex player, playing a lot of Sentinel for the team. Playing like the KO, I think. Like a lot of second duelist. Their roles are really awkward, so I can't really like say like roles for sure. Life is a really good player. He was on EDG at some point, like pre-franchising. I believe it was for Istanbul, actually. Is their flex player. Life is really good. I respect the hell out of him. But I have to go from what I have seen, and from what I have seen, it is Wolves winning against this team. I think there's like the top four in China is nuts. Like these four are nuts. Trace is like one of the best ascent teams in the world. Wolves, FPX look really fucking competitive. I think this will become the brand new, like this will become the Optic Loud rivalry, but for China, or it'll become like the new rivalry like this. Like the FPX EDG rivalry, or like the 1 and 2. It'll be like the 2 and 3 rivalry. I think Trace are actually also really good. Like Trace and these two teams here will make such a big rivalry. And Billy is also really good. So you have 4 teams fighting for second place. Like, I am really excited to see how China unfolds throughout the year. Like, I hope that Wolves, FPX, Trace, and Billy, like one of them just doesn't clear the others. Like, I would be very disappointed if that's how the year breaks out. Like, I would love to see like tooth and fucking nail, like Trace, Wolves, FPX, Billy, like all just fighting, like eliminating each other from international qualifications, like something like that, where like high pressure matches, just like trading series and stuff. Like, and it's really good for the region. Like this looks like China is rapidly evolving. I was like, they went from like looking really bad minus FPX last year, like mid-season, like FPX was the only real team China had in my opinion, to then EDG showing up after signing Simon, moving Haldong to assistant coach. They looked like they deserved it for sure. King became the best player in the game in my opinion, best duelist, not the best player, sorry. But like for that event, he was definitely the best like duelist player. Just like showing like why new Neon is so strong, picking up the Neon so quickly, picking up the Jet at a very high level. Like it's fucking King. You know him for the op from Masters Tokyo. Big standout event from him. And then like, throughout all of mid-year, China has not looked that great, but going into this year, I'm super stoked. I see a lot of potential for China this year. I want to say FPX will win this because they will be more acquainted with Yosemite by this point, since they have like played with this rivalry. But in my actual preds, I have it like this. But I low-key might change it to FPX. Nah, fuck that. I'm sticking with Wolves. I think there is a good chance this happens like this, or something like this happens. I might actually do that. I actually kind of like that. Right here we have the bottom bracket now. Oh wait, EDG winning. Actually no, I'm gonna do this like that. Yeah. Nova versus Gili Gaming. I think Nova is the better team between these two. They've shown like same 5, I'm pretty sure, and they have some weird ass quirky comps on every map, but they have a clear vision with it from what I can tell. Like they know their win conditions. They like every comp that they play, they know what they want to do with it. From just like from the looks of like me looking from the outside in, like this team looks like they have really good macro, like either the coach, the IGL, or they just have a really good collective like idea behind every comp that they play. Like, it's really impressive. Next up is Dragon Ranger Gaming versus Tech. Tech is playing the game. Sorry to tell you. They have RB and Haldong, plus after the previous coach for EDG that won champions. But this roster is just fucking awful. Like I don't understand. Like I don't know how Tech has RB and just looks all like bad for all of last year. Like the second worst org, if not the worst. No, they were the worst team in China last year, tied with like Tai Lu. All gamers were not much better, and like they signed Hao Dong, and after I was expecting like an instant like, yo, you're like Hao Dong coming in as the like coming off of the Champions run as the assistant coach. Like surely that helps you improve a lot as an IGL. Like you're getting cut for when your ex teammates turn into an IGL. Like becoming a coach, winning a Champions title, like you should bring a lot to this like bottom two VCT organization. But no, like they look just as bad, which is kind of nuts to me. So I don't know. Like, I guess it kind of does show that like firepower isn't everything. Like, just because you have good players doesn't mean your team will be good immediately. I mean, the same is like the opposite is showing the same thing with like EG though. Like, they had nobodies, brought in Demon 1, who nobody knew, became the best America's duelist, and then fucking just won champions like that as a 5. Like they looked so good. Anyway, getting very sidetracked here. Tyloo, JDG. I mean, Tyloo kind of have the tech thing. Little just because they're playing, I'm voting the opposite team. Even though it's JDG, all gamers. I don't know what the roster is here. Hold on. It's an okay roster, but I mean, it's a top 5 team here. I think Trace should be better. I think this year will be a big test for Trace to be like, are you only good on the maps with Ascent and Bind? Like, are those your only 2 maps where you're a good team? Or do you have, like, the depth in the map pool? Like, will you be a good Lotus team? Will you be a good Pearl team? Like, Split, so on. Like, is it just Ascent and Bind that you're world-class on? Or are you a world-class team who's, like, becoming into form? Or, like, if they only are good on Ascent and Bind, like, Billy will just win. But if they show, like, a high level of, like, expertise throughout the rest of the map pool, and they, like, get the rest of their map pool up to their Ascent, then we could be looking at a world where, like, we have, like, 3 to 4 teams, like, batting for trophies, like, upset team for, like underdogs that could lift trophies in China, which is nuts. And, like, Trace, DE, have a really strong, like, firepower roster. Like, they have Bianc, who was on the Billy roster that upset NRG 2023, sent them home. Luo King, controller player, pretty good player. They have the duelist / sentinel flex, like Raze and Jet. Whichever one is, like, which duelist is getting played, the other player will play the sentinel. So on Raze maps, Fangaf plays Raze and Kai plays, like, KJ. Or on Ascent, Kai plays the Jet, Fangaf plays the Cypher / KJ, whichever one. Heibei is the flex player. He played, like, the Deadlock for Ascent. Or it would be, like, KO on other maps, whatever, like Viper. They have a very standard game plan, but, like, they play the game, like, standard game, they're very into their own, like, play style, I guess. Like, they're very innovative with their own, like, with the standard stuff, like, simple stuff. So I respect Trace a lot. I feel like they should win this just because they are sticking together. Their bind should be good, and Billy is, like, still forming. They're still good though. Like, Billy dying here is unlucky for them, but I mean, they should be better as the year goes on, like Fnatic, like Carmine Core, like I said, for Europe. Dragon Ranger Gaming versus Nova. I think Nova's the better team here, like, but, like, Nova just are more cohesive. I guess, like, Dragon Ranger Gaming are still, like, experimenting a bit with their roster, who they want to bring in. Just from what I can tell. Like, I don't follow China very heavily. Like, just from what I've seen, like, the top end of, like, a lot of the off-season tournaments, like, we've had, like, every Chinese team, like, playing in tournaments, which is really, like, good. We're seeing, like, they're almost everyone but, like, EDG, Trace, FPX, like, one of those teams just won't be in one of them, but, like, everyone else is playing the event, which is really sick. Gile Gaming, like, even though they're getting first rounded, this team is like fucking good. Like, it's sort of like APAC, where like you have a lot of really good teams, but because of how many good teams there are, all of your teams look mediocre, which is so unfortunate. Because like all of these teams look nuts to me. I think Wolves should beat Nova. And I think this should be like just a clear top 4 right here. Like these are probably the top 6 for all year. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, the top 6 right here. All year. Nova might be the weakest link here. But I'd love to see Nova make it to an international. More so than Billy. But I see Billy making another international before Nova does. This is a good game either way. I think Wolves will just win out. Truly, I think Wolves look really good. They'll have more time now, like with their new roster, their new set 5. I think they're swapping roles as well. Duelist and controllers are swapping. Or that could just be like duelist player going to controller to sign a duelist player, something along the lines of that. Either way, Wolves look really good. Yeah, I mean, I think this is just straight up a 50-50. Like, I don't know. Both teams are fucking sick. But this is what I'm going to go with. Like, I think there's a good chance any of these 4 teams make it. These are the 4 favorites to make it. I think it would be really funny if something like this went down, where FPX and Wolves make it, but I don't see that happening. I think this is how it goes down, for me personally. Let me know if there's any teams that you think I'm overrating, underrating, any thoughts you have. Let me know in the comments. Join the Discord. In the Discord, you can get notified when I go live on Twitch and YouTube, both at the same time. Other than that, I'll see you guys later.